Welcome back, guys, to another edition of That Fuzzing Rock Show interviews. And this one, believe me, is one of my bucket list ones. I am honored and privileged to have on with me none other than Moriah Formica. Good afternoon. How are you today?
Hi, I'm great. How are you?
I'm awesome. I mean, it's again, like I said, this is bucket list for me. So forgive me for fanboying a little bit, you know what I mean? But I definitely appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to come hang out and talk to us.
Thanks for
Let's
having
get
me.
right into it because I don't want to waste any time. Let's start towards the beginning. What first got you interested in music?
Um, it's one of those things that are um I feel like I can't remember a specific moment where I was like, I really love music. But I know that my parents always raised me on music my whole life, really. My mom always told me how when I was literally an infant, she'd put me in like one of those little swings, that rock and
Sure.
sleeping and stuff for my naps. And she said I would never fall asleep. And so what she started doing was she would put headphones over my head and play like Guitar by the Sea or Flute by the Sea. And she said that was the only thing that would ever help me fall asleep as a baby. Um,
Nice.
and so I think I really always loved music, but when I think when I really, really started getting into it, like, oh my gosh, I really want to do this, is probably about 5 or 6. I fell in love with Aerosmith, thanks to my dad.
Right.
And I just fell in love with guitar because of Aerosmith and Joe Perry. And I just was so infatuated with guitar. And, my aunt got me Guitar Hero. And I would slave with Guitar Hero until I got it down. And then and then I started really getting into real guitar. And I just completely fell in love with it. It was like where I found my peace as a little kid.
That's awesome. So you wrote your first song at 11 years old, is that correct?
Yes.
That was Love Strong?
Yeah.
Tell us a little about that.
um, I mean, Love Strong was kind of just a song that I was sleep. I remember I was having a hard time sleeping when I forgot. It was probably like, I don't know. It was late through the night and I was having a
Mhm.
hard time sleeping. Um, because I've always had a hard time sleeping. I'm kind of an insomniac.
I
But
hear you.
I had this melody in my head and I'm just like, like I'm gonna write about this. And so I just kind of started recording little voice memos on my phone and writing stuff down. And I got my guitar and I just kind of wrote the song. I don't really know where the exact, there wasn't like a situation that I was writing about because
Mhm.
you're like 11. It's like, you don't know what it's like to
Right,
be
right.
and all this stuff.
Sure.
But, um, I don't know. I just kind of sat there and wrote it because I was kind of bored and I didn't, um, I couldn't sleep and I just had this melody in my head and these words that were just popping up.
So let's move ahead a little bit. We're going to talk about, and I'm sure you get this question all the time, so I'm going to apologize, but let's talk about the Voice season 13. You were 16 and you auditioned for that and kicked some pretty major ass on that. So would you
Thank
do
you.
that again if you had to do it over again?
No, I wouldn't.
No.
I wouldn't do it now. If I was, look, if I could, I mean, I don't mean that in a way as I regret it because I don't.
Sure.
It was an amazing, I mean, it was a stepping stone. I mean, really, it kind of gave me that Kickstarter that I needed for my career. And especially at 16, I don't feel like there's, you know, I mean, that's an amazing, huge opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, the exposure that you get is priceless. You can't, it's honestly, you can't, it's amazing. Um, and the people that you meet, it's incredible. You really make lifelong friendships. I mean, I met my best friend in the whole entire world on that show. Um, and so I really am grateful for that experience. And I know that I needed it at that time. But if I could do it again, I definitely wouldn't. Just because I'm really comfortable and secure in who I am and what I'm doing right now. And I just really love being able to make original music and be in this band with amazing musicians and people and my friends. My sisters really, like, I love them, and I just
Sure.
wouldn't, you know, I'm very much a person who always believes, you are where you are because you're supposed to be there, or because of the choices that you made, whatever. A
Mhm.
little bit of both, but I definitely I wouldn't do it again. I don't think. No.
So let's move forward a little bit more. We're going to talk about the pandemic hit, basically grinding everything to a screeching halt, but not you. Like you were kind of behind the scenes, like and creating what we now know as Plush. Tell us about putting Plush together. Like, how did you guys wind up all kind of coming together and forming that bond?
Well, I Brooke and I actually met first. I came across her videos on Instagram, actually,
Mhm.
Instagram and YouTube, and as one does during quarantine, it's like, what else are you supposed to do except
Exactly,
when
exactly.
you're like, oh, I wonder what human interaction through the internet. Like, I just want to, you know what I
Oh yeah.
mean? And so I found Brooke, and I was like, oh my gosh, this girl is incredible. I think she was 16 at the time.
Yes.
Uh, and I was like, there's no way this girl is 16. And um, I found out that she didn't live too far from me. And I was like, we reached out and we're just like, hey, do you want to jam? I mean, let's just to see what happens.
Mhm.
And we did. And the chemistry was instant. And we really felt something special. And then we were like, okay, let's be a band. And so Brooke introduced Ashley into the band because they had done the School of Rock program together a few years prior, I think,
Oh, okay.
in
Yeah.
in like middle school. I think. Don't quote me on
Mhm.
that. But yeah, so they were really good friends, and then the three of us got together and we jammed, and it was just, again, the chemistry was instant, and we just really felt like it was just right. And so then at that point, management had hopped on board and put out a PSA for um, guitar players, and um, Lizzie Hale from Hailstorm actually got a hold of that and had retweeted it or regrammed it or something like that. And that's how Bella Perron, our guitar player, saw it, and she reached out, and when we saw Bella, we fell in love, and you just know, we just knew that she was the one for us.
Sure. I mean, how could you not? All four of you are amazing musicians in your own right. I know that during the pandemic, I actually got, and you guys, this is a major flex right now. So you guys can all be jealous. I'm telling you right now that I got to see a live stream that Moriah did it at Chrome, which unfortunately no longer around, but and it was like me and three other people. So I had like a personal performance. It was amazing. And I was out back and you were doing a sound check. And I think you did Crazy on You for your sound check. And I'm like, I thought it was like I thought I was hearing like the recording of it. And then I came in and I looked and I'm like, she does she does Ann Wilson better than Ann does. Like I was stunned to say the least. And then that show was I actually still have the video of it. I've watched it a couple of times since then. And I love it. So yeah, there's my flex for the day.
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. I do remember that, actually, and that was a lot of fun. I loved doing that live stream for the
And
three of you, and
yeah, exactly. It was like,
that's
hey, you just heard like one clap, but you know what?
right. But that's so
It
funny.
was
Like,
it, it got a
it's
ton of attention and it was awesome. It helped me out a lot. So I definitely appreciate you doing it. And it helped Chrome for the time being, which was wonderful. So again,
man, I
thank you
love
for
Chrome.
doing
That
that.
will
So
always be a place near and dear to my heart.
yeah,
It's such a shame that it closed down. I hated that.
it
And then
is. And Darla's an amazing person. Love you, Darla.
she
I know you're
really
gonna be watching
is.
this. So
Yes, love you,
um
Darla. She's such an amazing woman.
let's take a step back from it. So you were doing your solo thing for a while, couple years before Plush, anyways. You had a couple independent releases. 2016 was the Bring It On EP, and then the Here's My Heart single in 2017. So what was it like doing your solo thing? Was it Was it? Did you know there was something more in the future for you? Did you think you were going to always be solo, or
I always, I guess I was always happy to release my solo music because it's, I was, um, they were just songs that I, just wrote. And I don't know if I ever had any sort of, um, I think it was just, releasing things and
Mhm.
hoping that, something would come of it.
Sure,
But also just to share it with people, I guess was my biggest thing. I was just like, I hope, here's some songs I wrote and I hope that you guys like it and whatever. But looking in hindsight, there was so much, in a teenage head. It's like, but in a lot of the time you can't articulate things. But I think in hindsight, I definitely felt there was always this undertone that I just wanted something more. Like I just felt like I wasn't, it was a little bit uncomfortable doing the solo thing, looking back in it. And a lot of it just felt not right. And I know that it was the right thing that I was supposed to be doing at that
at
time.
that time,
But I
sure,
always, yeah. But when I was younger, I always, it was always bands that I looked up to. I always saw myself in a band, whether it was playing guitar or singing, or I wanted to be a part of a band and have that, brotherhood in a sense, or sisterhood in this case,
sure,
and just create with people and other like-minded people and musicians, and just get to travel together and have that road experience. I just felt inside it was like a deep thing, like a deep like longing. I'm like, I need to be in a band. And at like 18, when the pandemic hit, I really took a second to do some self-reflection, and I realized, this is not, I'm very grateful for the experiences that I've had with my solo career and this and that, but I just didn't, it wasn't, I wanted something more, and I knew that it was time to do something different. Um,
and different it was. So that brings us right back to Plush. You guys released the Hate single in early 2021, went to number 24 on the Billboard chart. So I'm going to read something right now, and so what I'm going to read is part of the lyrics of this song. I am so broken, my wounds are open for the world to see that I am unclean, I'm dirty, I'm unworthy. Like that just hits hard. Like holy crap. I mean, this song is, and it's relatable to everybody, not just like, everybody can relate to that on some level. And you guys, I mean, you were talking about a brotherhood or sisterhood that you guys have, and you guys just came out swinging and kind of, it's I mean, obviously music has always been like a male dominated thing. You just guys came just out and kicked the brotherhood in the balls. Honestly, like I don't know how else to say it. Like you got, it was like
thank you.
all of a sudden it was just you guys were everywhere, and everybody, the buzz was started then, and it's still going. You guys are still talked about a lot, and then you released Plush in October of 2021. Tell us what it was like putting that album together, because that album, every song on it is just every one of them strong. It's just amazing writing, and I want to
Thank
know
you.
how you guys like came to do the recording and writing and all that stuff. So
Yeah, I mean, making that album it was so much fun, and um it was really smooth. Actually, it was a really smooth process. We got to work with Johnny K, who has produced Disturbed, Three Doors Down, Stained, like,
sure,
he's worked with so many people, and so it was incredible that he, even had an interest in working with us and took the time to do that. And he's just, a genius. And our vision aligned with, his vision aligned with ours as far as what we saw for this album. And it was just a dream team. It was perfect. And a lot of the time for recording that album, we just got together in in a studio in Nashville, in the live room, and just jammed out a lot of those songs and together. And so it was, a lot of it was a very live, organic process. And then for week 2 we went to Chicago at Johnny's home studio, and then we did overdubs and
Sure.
vocals and stuff like that. But for the bare bones of everything, a lot of it was very natural and organic, and which is something that we love in Plush, and we always hope to stay as organic and real and raw and genuine as possible.
Sure.
So that was really a refreshing thing. But it was just a really smooth process. We worked on structuring the songs, and we got in the studio, and it took about 2 weeks to make that album and to finish recording it. And it was just, and there were some hurdles because of studio times and being able to get in because COVID and
Sure.
protocols and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But other than that, it was a really smooth sailing, awesome process, and it was really cool to work with in a band for the first time, and
Sure.
just get to bounce off ideas off of each other and see
Mhm.
everybody's creative process. So it was really, really fun. And I
So when
can't
you
wait
got
to do it too with these girls.
right, so when you got to the end of it, everything was recorded, all said and done. Did you know you had this monster on your hands? Like when you were listening, were you like, "Holy shit, we got something killer here"? Like,
I think it was I just remember feeling like I personally felt like it was the best that we could have done, and we just really hoped that people felt a lot of the emotions that we felt going into this album and recording it, and we just hoped that people had a good response to it and people connected with it.
Mhm.
So I think that that's what it was. It was just kind of like, all right, here we go, let's you know breathe and pray, cross your fingers.
Hell yeah.
But I don't know if there was really a moment where it was like, man, like we just made an awesome. We were proud of ourselves, of course, and we believed that the album was everything that we had wanted to portray and convey and everything. But it was really a matter of we really hope that the people share the same feeling, and
Sure.
thankfully for the most part, it really got a lot of positive feedback, and we're just so grateful for that.
Okay, so now we got all the technical cool stuff out of the way. Let's talk about the fun stuff now. Let's talk about touring. You have toured with some big names already and more to come, but you've been out with Daughtry slash Seether, Seven Dust, Wolfie Van Halen, and Hailstorm and Evanescence. Those are the two I want to kind of focus on for a second. What was it like for you to be touring with basically two of your heroes? Like that's got to be massive for you.
That was something that was, I mean, it's still hard to, it feels like a dream still, actually. Like it feels like when you talk about it, it's like, did that really happen? That was just so incredible. It was a very spiritual thing for me personally, because I just, you know, as you said, I mean, these are bands that I really looked up to and I
Sure.
still look up to.
Mhm.
And they've really helped shape the musician that I am today. And Plush, and it just, and getting to be in their presence every night and getting to watch them and learn from them. And it's just something that is, really, it's priceless, honestly. And it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. And we had so much fun on that tour. It was a lot of fun memories, and it was just amazing to be able to share the same stage as two of our biggest heroes.
Oh, I'm sure. So speaking of people that you look up to, let's talk about somebody else. Probably one of the coolest guys to meet in the music industry, Michael Sweet, of course, of the legendary Striper. What is your connection with him, and how did you guys kind of hook up together?
Yeah, so I actually had at like, I think 14, I was 14 or 15, and um I Michael was doing a solo acoustic show at Chrome,
Mhm.
and Darla was looking for an opener, I believe, in um, this the music school that I went to called Modern Day Music.
Mhm.
It's up in Clifton Park,
Yes.
and the owner of that, and he also produced my old EP, Bring It On. But his name is Paul Benedetti,
Yes.
and he, he was good friends with Darla, and he was like, "Hey, I have this, a student who I think might be, just let her play a couple songs and just, see what you think and whatever." And so I went into Chrome and I played a couple songs acoustically for Darla, and she decided to have me open, which I was so ecstatic about.
Oh, I'm sure.
And so yeah, I got to open a show for Michael Sweet, and after that, I got to talk to him and meet him and his wife Lisa, and ever since then, they just took me under their wing and really have just been so supportive and do whatever they can to help. And just, it really, really is just so incredible. And they are amazing people, so kind, and obviously so talented, and
Absolutely.
kind of a freak. I still don't understand how Michael does that with his voice every night, and and at the same time being an incredible guitar player is ridiculous.
Sure.
So yeah, that's how I got in with Michael Sweet and Striper and that whole family.
That's awesome. So let's pay a couple bills. You do have some endorsements. Tell us about some of the endorsements you have. I know that's you just did some cool thing with Laney Amps. I know you're sponsored by Laney Amps, ESP Guitars. Is there anybody else that you're sponsored by that you want to kind of give a shout out to?
Yeah, I am. We do play Laney, and we love Laney. Amazing. I recommend them wholeheartedly. I think, you can get whatever sounds you want out of those amps.
Sure.
Yeah, as you said, ESP Guitars. I love them. I've played them since I was like 15, and I don't know if I would ever consider going to anything else. I mean, I'm open to playing all sorts of stuff, but I don't know. ESP is just, I love their guitars. And SIT Strings. I want to give a shout out to them because they're awesome, and I also use Intune guitar picks, and they're awesome too. So yeah, shout out to all of them. Thank you so much for having us.
ESP, if you want to hang one of your Moriah model guitars on the wall, I'll make a spot for you, I promise. I'm just playing. So let's go back to Plush again. I know recently that Brooke departed from the band, and you guys just played the state fair, correct?
Yes.
Now, are you guys, you had a fill-in for her? Are you actively searching for another drummer? Do you have somebody that's in that slot now, or what's going on with that?
Yeah, we have a few people that we're still looking for, a permanent member, but we did have somebody fill in for the fair, and her name is Faith Powell. She's amazing. She's
absolutely.
She's a freaking powerhouse. She's just so energetic and she's an amazing person too. And yeah, so we loved her. We love having her. But as far as right now, we're still on the search for permanent members. So we're gonna, keep doing everything that we can. And yeah, but it was amazing playing that gig with Faith. Yeah.
So how about, and I know you guys have some stuff lined up as in touring wise. I know there's something with Allison Chains, the Kiss Cruise, which, if you need somebody to roadie for you, again, I'm throwing my hand up. How does that affect, how does the drummer thing affect that? Do you guys have a plan in place to fill in for that, or?
We do. Yeah, we have a plan in place for everything coming up, because because it's super important. We need enough time to, lock somebody in and get practices in and stuff like that. So we do have a plan and some people ready to sit in.
So stay tuned for that, folks. You'll be
stay tuned.
Yeah,
there will be announcements, but gotta stay tuned and just
that's right.
Bear with
We're not going to uncover anything today, so no. So are you guys, let's talk about new music with you guys. Are you guys currently working on some new stuff? Is there any timeline for new release or?
We don't have a timeline yet for new release, but we're hoping to get some stuff out, I think, um, by next year, the
Okay.
beginning of next year.
Mhm.
And hopefully sooner, but we've been, uh, I've been, I know I've been writing a lot of stuff and new ideas, and the girls and I want to work together very soon and start writing
Mhm.
um, for album 2, hopefully. So yeah, we don't have an exact timeline, but we are most definitely going to get out some new music and, um, and hopefully album 2 in the near future.
Awesome. Very cool. So okay. So this is probably one of the last ones I have for you, maybe a couple more, but let's talk reptiles and pets because I
Yes.
know it's your favorite subject, and B, at Chrome, you had said that if I ever interviewed you, I have to ask you about your pets. And I know we have a guest star. Thank you for your guest appearance there, Puppy Dog. I appreciate it. So let's talk
Yes,
about.
she's very scared right now because they think that there's a thunderstorm coming because it gets the lighting and the wind or whatever. So
Right,
she's
right.
like, yeah, so she's glued to me right now.
So let's talk about other pets. What kind of other pets do you have besides the puppy dog?
Yeah, so I have two of these little guys. I have this is Bella, and she's about 9 years old, and she's a rat terrier. And then I have another rat terrier who's 12. Um, and then I have 2 cats, and then I have a lizard and 2 snakes.
So you
And
have
a
your
bunny.
work. You have and a bunny too. You have your work
Yeah,
cut out.
my brother has a bunny. Yeah.
You have your work cut out just in taking care of the zoo over there. That's awesome.
Yeah, they're a big part of our life, as anybody with pets know, and so you know, they're our family.
Right? So you also mentioned your brother Gabriel. I'm gonna give a shout out to him because he is probably one of the funniest people I've ever met, and B, you guys seem to have the coolest bond of any brother sister I've ever seen. So that's awesome. So I'm gonna give Gabriel a shout out, and
Yes, shout out to Gabe
he is
always.
he is definitely awesome. So last question, and then I'm gonna let you go. What advice would you give to somebody, a younger musician, kind of trying to follow in your footsteps? I know your fans absolutely adore you. So what kind of advice would you give them if they were just kind of starting out? What would you tell them?
Um, I guess one of the things that I would say is just um, just stick with it. You stick with it because there are going to be there are a lot of things that are very can be very discouraging and make you feel like, oh man, I'm never gonna accomplish what I want to accomplish, or I'm never gonna whatever, no one's ever gonna care, whatever it is that you feel discouraged about. But if there's going to be a lot of that, and you just have to stick with it and persevere, and um and also be willing to hear things that you don't like, sometimes, because it actually can be one of the biggest things that help you um to become better. You gotta
Mhm.
I think it's really something that was really important to me, is taking constructive criticism, because it really is very important. And um you know and then just, but also to the same thing, it's like there also should be a degree, I think, of not listening to people all the time, because it's make sure that you're happy and passionate about what you're doing. Because if you're listening to all these other people, and oh, you should make this type of music, or you should write that type of music, or you shouldn't wear that, or you should do your hair like this, or you should do, I mean, it's then what's the point? You're doing it for everybody else. And just follow
Right.
your gut, because I think that it really is a lot of truth to following your gut. If you have a strong gut feeling about something, don't let anybody deter you from that, because chances are it's probably right. I don't know. I've never had a situation or met anybody that had a situation where they followed their gut completely 100% and honestly and genuinely, and, a negative outcome came from it.
Mhm.
So those are the things that I would say. Yeah. And stay
So
humble too.
yes,
I feel like you should always be humble, because I feel like that's the key to everything, honestly.
I think one of the best parts about you is that you never forget where you came from, and I absolutely love that about you. So is there anybody that you want to give a shout out to, or anything you want to tell the folks before we wrap things up here?
Just, thank you. And thank you, for the support. And I really appreciate it. And, you know, I hope that everyone is staying safe and healthy wherever you are. And I just wish continued blessings and, you know, peace and love, really. So, yeah.
So for more information on Mariah, guys, you guys can go to moriahformica.com, and she's on YouTube at Moriah Formica, and Facebook is Moriah Formica Music. Twitter and Insta is at Moriah Formica. And I just have to say that it has been an absolute pleasure to speak with you. You have made my month, my year, probably. So I appreciate that very
Thank
much.
you.
And look forward to seeing a whole bunch more from you ladies, and especially you, but you ladies in general. And just keep killing it, because you guys are doing it right.
Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, Mariah, thank you again. Ladies and gentlemen, Moriah Formica, thank you.
Thanks so much for having me.